Makwaba eba POG political media. So see a chance is na just my Ghana political headlines in it. And I so ya boabo no say the some POG be for one my Ghana that is almost what me the echo and the eba my Ghana political space. Na measure so you for POG Media, so that's on subscribers to POG Media. I need a new book so me a drop subscription. Now I see notification bell no. Now so me a share no for so and so me account the echo and the about my Ghana political streaming. Now your boy Eddie Ryan is manager said any and so Eddie share Akwatia the by-election and also a bit me akoso the 2nd of September. Now just next week. Now I want to say not just say Ghana police and so etimi and so aboy dwuma a chese area Yohunu boy a show my Ghana no e kam yakọ say oye ho adwuma ne sa na chese police for so etimi intercept weapons bi a chese suspects bi nipa a mususu say omo so etu so etimi ahye omo na sa hobambo a chese omo so weapons bebo ewura sa Akwatia by election as na chese say akoya hobambo say ballot box na chese omo so de be Mbabe masu wana se mentimo wase na muso babe cause election na say using those weapons. Now please also etimia achi sankofu kwe yometimi achi emutena omususu se na sa adwempo no enso wo mutirim so mbe sa nyam na asem no Akwatia menjemre pi me se bebo ensem mo hu de echo mu yi mrase.
The Ghana Police Service has heightened security at Akwatia and its environs with 8 days to the by-election. An intensified operation in the last week has resulted in arrests and retrieval of guns from suspects. The Small Arms Commission has declared Akwatia a no-go area for any form of weapon, as it warns persons arrested in breach of this directive will be prosecuted. We'll hear from a security consultant shortly. First, however, let's take a look at the operation undertaken by the police service. Now, already we know that 10 suspects have been arrested, 9 weapons have also been retrieved. Now, these weapons include 8 pump-action guns and 1 locally manufactured single-barrel gun. So that's that. But what are the key incidents that have led to this point? On 22nd August 2025, police intercepted vehicle driven by a suspect identified as Bernard Kumi Ofusu, somewhere in Akwatia near St. Dominic Hospital. Now, a search on his person led to the discovery of the pump-action guns and cartridges. Now, the suspect also provided a valid license, and investigations, as we know it, are ongoing at this time. But in a separate operation at Akwatia Y Junction, another suspect was picked up, Joshua Amenuku, after retrieving 15 live BB cartridges from him. Pump-action gun subsequently retrieved upon a search of his residence as well. Then a day after, police have been very busy over there because suspect Peterson Joseph was also arrested at Wedua Livingston Junction, also with a pump-action gun and cartridges. And then a fourth suspect at this point, Stephen Nkansa, was found with a pump-action gun at a Samankese direction towards Wedua. So those are what we know so far about the key incidents. Now, I've told you about 4, although we know that some 10 people in total have been arrested, and then 9 pump-action gun, 1 locally manufactured single-barrel gun, and some ammunition also. But let's take all of this to Richard Kumado. Richard Kumado is a security consultant. We'll have a quick chat with you, Richard. But when you hear the number of people arrested, the kinds of weapons that have been retrieved from these suspects, what are your readings into the situation ahead of the by-election? Oh, it appears he's not ready to talk to us. But let's try again. Richard, I appreciate your time this afternoon here on News Central. But talk to us about how you're viewing your perspective on the kinds of guns that are being seized, the ammunition involved, and the number of people. It would appear within the same, enclave.
Definitely, yes. If you remember, what the police demonstrated last week. They show strength and they show their preparedness in curtailing violence, particularly those that involve guns within Akwàtià or for this particular by-election. It is surprising that locally manufactured weapons are the ones that are being seized. What I suspect is that the police went out there ahead of the election to do some level of search, to fish out persons with guns and to pick those guns from their hands before the D-Day. What I also suspect the police will do is to mount a police barrier to ensure that illegitimate people do not get into Akwàtià, or people with guns that might create problems for the elections do not get into Akwàtià. I remember on the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th of July, when we were in Akwàtià to do security risk assessment, the police were also there to do what the military would have called wrecking, and that helped them to do the mappings and to anticipate where the red flags might be coming from. But the warnings from the police that troublemakers should not come to Akwàtià, these particular actions and the total number of people arrested might be sending the signal that the police are ready on the day.
I see. I mean, you've talked about things that the police could do to prevent, further cases from coming up, or from people from prevent people from causing trouble, right? But what do you think the police are up against, looking at the numbers we are seeing already? Akwàtià is just, the Akwàtià by-election is just around the corner.
Yeah, definitely. Akwàtià has about 119 police stations. The IGP Yohunu has declared that he's sending 5,000 men into Akwàtià. Even if you pair one police station by 30 men, he still has enough reserves at his disposal. We are only hoping and praying that Electoral Commission will discharge their duties on time. The political parties will take their responsibility in terms of polling station activities. Then the police will create a safer environment for voters to cast their vote for their respective candidates. When it gets to close-up polls, where sometimes issues about distortions and duplications and discrepancies in the votes at the coalition center, I believe the police is ready to provide us safer grounds for the Electoral Commission to do their work successfully. Overall, it's a shared responsibility, and we will encourage everybody to behave themselves around, considering what we saw at Abrekumano and the videos that came up with people determined to create chaos at Akwàtià. So that is where we are, Kemini. I think if we see the police and what they've put up and what they have demonstrated on the grounds at Akwàtià, it will be a warning to people who want to come and create problems. At the end of the day, do we want to go there and fight one another and create chaos for the elections? No. Do we want the elections to be held successfully and successful candidates are declared as winners? I think that is the top priority for the police and the Electoral Commission.
I see. My question then to you will be whether or not there is real danger ahead as far as that by-election is concerned.
If you hear the politicians speak, it looks to everybody, or it sounds as if Akwàtià has become a battleground for NDC and MPP. And that is why, in response, the IGP said, I'm bringing a mobile moving prison, that I'll put everybody who create problem into the prison. But is that what we want? No. I think it's a known knowledge. The aspect of our elections in Ghana has become too violent, and we need to work at it in diffusing that violence. One way of doing that is arrest and prosecution of troublemakers. The other one is public education, and the other one is awareness creation. And the other one will be for the Electoral Commission to do their job. If materials delay and there's displacement of voters and machines are not working, definitely that is going to create some level of agitation, and treacherous elements and predacious characters who will find themselves into Akwàtià might use that as premise to create problems. So let's perform our shared responsibilities according to what is before us, and I don't think we are going to have issues. Other than that, the political tension is a little bit high, and Akwàtià presents the right environment for trouble causers to embed their vengeance on whoever want to be there.
Good evening here. Thank you so much for talking to us.
You're welcome.
Richard Kumado is a security analyst. We've been talking about some arrests that have been made already in respect of the Akwàtià by-election. 10 suspects arrested, some weapons retrieved as well. He's been talking to us about what the police could do to ensure that there is no violence on the said day. But we also know that the Small Arms Commission has made or declared Akwàtià a no-go area. Whether or not that works is a conversation for another day. Let's turn attention to something else, because it was a busy weekend of intense campaign for the NPP and NDC in Akwàtià. The Chief of Staff led the NDC's delegation to campaign, urging residents to vote for the party. The NPP has also intensified its efforts in the area. Yvonne Ikwe is our correspondent in the Eastern region, joining us with the very latest. Yvonne, what can you report now with only days to the by-election?
Well, Timothy, as you rightly said, the days are getting shorter now for the by-election, and so the political activity has heightened up from the national to the regional to the constituency. They are crisscrossing all of the communities, the 119 electoral areas, to ensure that they are not being as the constituency, so that under the elections they do get things order. So as I speak, a very intensified and heightened political activity ongoing. We're expecting a lot more of the big on both sides as the week goes by. We do know that by Friday, the 1 week occupation of the deceased former MP would take place. Then we do also have activities as well. So we're following all of these two political parties as they go. We know that there's a task force, which is the LPG, also in the race. As they all move with the activities, will be casting their eyes to exactly what they are telling the electorate.
I see Yvonne, we'll leave it here for now. Thank you so much. Yvonne Ikwe is our Eastern Region correspondent. Now, the Electoral Commission says all materials needed for the polls have been procured. John Appiah Bafo is Electoral Commission Director in the Eastern Region.
For the elections. As I'm talking now, the ballot papers have been printed, and if you dispatch them to Akwàtià, the other election material like the ballot boxes, all of them have been labeled. The materials needed, all of them have been sent to them. And then we'll do our packaging on Sunday and Monday.
Like you made a message over like and as on subscribe to a POG political media so any day and we'll book so I bet your subscription now so I share for so as so at me account mo the echo and the eba over my Ghana ya man same now in some matches say and also be to be come here say the IGP Yohunu also just also a boy juma ye pa and now yes an intel no sunya e fa sound of go almost trimpo they say almost the ASA weapons yi so ebebo e the Akwàtià na just on the hakoye Makokosi Mahama na aze Makokosi violence was our election as ya chese ono so dey na see former wahwe ama the boys and also etimi a carry on sa operation and also etimi a success also etimi retrieve these weapons nipa almost three almost to see almost this weapon you can come the ball the Akwàtià and so akakoye a violence no better say better was an issue me with us.
And then Tuesday we transport everything to the polling station for the smooth conduct of the elections. So I would say that commissions is fully prepared. What we are left with is the training of the election officials. And from Tuesday going, we are going there to do the grassroots training for all the election officials for the conduct of the by-elections. You know, we, the Electoral Commission, we don't have interest in who wins the elections. Our common interest is to organize free, fair, and peaceful elections. And that is all that we want to have. So we entreat all the political parties also to comport themselves, conform to the rules, so that at the end, we shall all have the peaceful elections that we are yearning for. We've been engaging the political parties. Our head office held an IPAC meeting with all the political parties, and they discussed the process of the by-elections. The region too, we are going to have a DIPAC meeting with the political parties at Akwàtià, maybe on Wednesday. And we are also going to discuss the process. So we'll be engaging them. our advice is that elections are governed by rules and regulations. So we expect all the political parties to abide and respect the laws. And if they respect the laws, then we are going to have the free, fair, and the peaceful elections that we are all in.
And in other development, the Action People's Party is protested the Electoral Commission's last-minute disqualification of its candidate, David Akroma, from the parliamentary by-election in the constituency. They are asking the court to compel the EC to include their name on the ballot paper, arguing all requirements were met. Now, the party's chairman, Kenneth Nana Kwame, explained their position to TV3.
My candidate is a government worker. He's a nurse in Akwàtià General Hospital. He has been working over there for the past 16 years. We presented his pay slips, including the GRA tax numbers, which were verified by the Electoral Commission at Akwàtià office. And that is the reason why they asked us to come for balloting. So once they have accepted that one, why would they come back and tell us about the tax clearance? Fast forward, I order my candidate to go to Asamankese GRA office to apply for the tax clearance on the 19th. The same time, we were in a meeting with Inspector General of Police at the police headquarters, including Mr. Samuel Tete and Mr. Bosman. So around 10 a.m. in the morning, when my candidate went to Asamankese GRA office, they started the proceedings of the tax clearance, in which they presented us with the ledger, stamp it, and forwarded it to me. And I showed it to Mr. Tete right at the police headquarters. So Mr. Tete asked me to forward it to him and his WhatsApp, which I did. 4:30 p.m. after the meeting, when Mr. Tete went to office, Mr. Tete picked up a phone and called me. Say, Chairman, I have received it. Everything is okay. We are okay now. But I should ask my candidate to send the hard copy to Akwàtià district office for evidential sake that yes, we have applied for the tax clearance. We have done with this. We have gone through all these proceedings with him. Right after I speak with Mr. Tete made Mr. Kisi call me to submit my logo for the notice of the poll, which I did it. So from there, we thought everything is fine. On the 20th, when they were beginning to print the ballot, around 4:30, that was where we received the disqualification letter from Mr. Tete saying that, oh, we did not present our tax clearance. So what you people are doing is not fair. That is why we spoke to our lawyer and we took them to court to put injunction on the case. So 28 is the court case. We want the court to order the Electoral Commission to include my candidate at the Akwàtià by-election.
Now let's focus on the MPP and their race to determine who leads the party in the next general elections. Now, with key aspirants now attacking each other on what could have accounted for the 2024 election defeat, a speech delivered by aspirant Dr. Brian Ichampo has got Dr. Mahama Bawumia to respond directly, insisting tribe or religion played no role in this electoral performance. This has sparked concerns about the nature of politicking taking place and whether the party's leaders must step in. Oh, we can now take a listen to former flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahama Bawumia, who has strongly condemned what he describes as tribal and divisive comments made by the aspirants against him ahead of the presidential primary slated for January 2026.
As we prepare to go into the primaries, I am very, very concerned and troubled that some of our presidential aspirants have embarked on a religious and tribal bigotry and propaganda against me in a desperate attempt to win votes. They totally ignore all the data and findings about why we lost the 2024 elections and want to mislead the delegates and the party with such propaganda. The one such issue that has come up, and I think it's important for all of us to know, is the Mamprosi-Kusasi conflict. An aspirant has said that delegates should not vote for me because I am a Mamprosi man, and that we will lose votes in the Kusasi areas and other areas. This is very unfortunate and demonstrates a complete lack of understanding of the situation on the ground.
Let's have a quick chat on the back of this. Dr. Samuel Ifriye is a political analyst, is joining us for that conversation. Doc, obviously for a lot of people, this is very concerning. Has the party shown enough concern about how the presidential primary is playing out?
You know, it's quite unfortunate that the MPP is still not finding its feet well in this. That is after the general election, 2024 elections, and still they are accusing each other and trying to ensure that they put blame on why they've lost. I think I always use the word common sense for these leaders or maybe the party members to sit down and try to focus on the party unity rather than the individualistic perspective. And I think that is why this is forcing one of these aspirants to also accuse Dr. Bawumia for these conflicts, the issues about Mamprosi and the Kusasis. And that is quite unfortunate. And I think the party need to sit up, the leaders need to think about party general interest rather than the individual perspective. Yes.
What impact does this kind of politicking have on a party like the NPP that only recently got into opposition and is struggling to find its feet?
You know, I think Article 21 of our Constitution talks about, one of the sessions talks about a non-discrimination, where we don't have to prohibit discrimination based on race, color, and religion. But you know, in reality, political parties since I think, let's say the Fourth Republic, even though the Constitution bans this non-discriminatory approach, you realize that political parties tend to use these religion and tribal issues, and that is an undercurrent in a way to achieve their perspective goals, and that is what is hampering some of some of these conflicts in these areas. You know, for history, you can realize that the Mamprosis are aligned to the MPP and the NDC, also the Kusasis. Even though Kusasis from Kwame Nkrumah time, they were aligned to the CPP. But because of CPP being weakened, they've now tend to align with the Kusasis. And during the 2024 election, realized that there was an undercurrent of these politicians or political parties trying to influence or use these things, these tribal groups, for their own political interest. And they see that now it has gotten hold, and now even within the party, the MPP party, they are even trying to use against their one of the aspirants, that is Dr. Bawumia. And I think we need to ensure that we reason to avoid these things. If not, because research have proven that you know, Ghanaians don't vote on tribal and religion in a way. They want people, personality, they want people who can solve their problem for them. If that have not been the case, I think we could not have gotten most of our leaders being president in this country.
I see. And so, I mean, let me play the devil's advocate here, right? While you say that it does not play a significant role, to a small extent, for some voters, it does play a role. And so, is it a matter of the bigotry that came along with it, or, you know, in terms of how it was conveyed? What exactly is wrong with what Brian Echampong said?
So come when I bought Eddie Rajumedium say POG the about Ghana authentic political updates are POG personal submit me account who the echo and the eba my Ghana political stream. Now I'll subscribe this dollar message so drop a subscription. Now I share enough for so as also it's me account who the echo and the eba our political stream. Now bet me so bo area the comment section I was wait me dim komo and so Eddie Rajumedium say POG the ebeba na enso ya babe ma ho e mo. Me that's it. Sorry break my POG message.